young adults are finding themselves finishing school with more debt than they imagined, with less prospects of getting any sense of employment with their degrees. In this video, let's sit down together and spend some time discussing how the average 25 to 35-year-old is most likely going to bed wishing they didn't wake up in the morning due to a lack of finances. And if you can unfortunately personally relate to anything discussed in today's video, or simply just been enjoying my daily doomer commentaries over here on the page, then don't forget to like, comment your thoughts, opinions down below, and subscribe to see my daily videos right here on the channel. And a huge shout out to the handful of you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. Now, let's begin this shit show.
Why do you think college is a scam?
Half of this audience, if you get a job, will get a job that doesn't require a college degree. 41% of kids that enter college will not graduate. And the vast majority of kids, 60 to 70% that go to college, I believe study things that are completely worthless, meaningless, and don't enrich society at all.
Is that the fault of the student or the college?
Let's talk about the institution itself. So everyone in the audience here, how many of you have had to take classes that are a waste of time, that you wish you didn't have to take, that are a waste of money, and that every single hand goes up? Look around, look around, look around, no, look around. They're scamming every kid in this audience. They are forcing them to take classes that make them poorer, that take up their time in order to get the credential. That is an institutional scam. And by the way, every other part of life is all about your own customization. Your Netflix account, how you get your burrito bowl, from how you dress, your Amazon cart is you are in charge. But you come to college and they say you must go take these 3, 4, 5 classes that are very expensive, especially for you out-of-state students, to go further into debt, study things that don't matter, to find jobs that don't exist. That sounds like a scam.
Now, anybody who's lived long enough and has been able to grasp any sense of real reality will be able to tell you that money, finances, the economy controls the majority of our lives. So we try to educate our, offsprings, our young ones, the youth, that, if you go to college, hopefully you can use this degree to get a higher salary and a higher pay wage once you do enter the workforce and start, relying on employment, not mooshing off your parents like everybody under 18 is allowed to, till you pass that little bit of a bar, 18, 21, 25, depends on how wealthy the family you're born into, then you're kind of, the result is that you should be able to take care of yourself and live on your own, at least to a certain extent at a certain point. But a lot of these young folks, a lot of these Gen Zs, potentially Gen Alphas, even Millennials, they found themselves with these degrees that are bullshit. They can't do anything with them. But the interest, the debt, the student loans, those are real. And one of the only debts in America that you cannot bankrupt on. So they're dead ass stuck with these. They're forced to pay these, with the interest rates continuously going higher and higher, up and up and up, with their pay raises only getting lower and lower, in terms of the overall rising cost of living and everything else that's going up alongside just living in itself. But what do you guys personally think? Did you guys get the whole college indoctrination? Do you guys feel like a fool for falling for it? Or did your college degree genuinely benefit you because you chose the right, education sector, and your parents actually kind of led you in the right direction? Or do you just go to college because you want to be the first one in your family? You feel like having a degree is better than not having a degree, not realizing that debt is actually not bad. I mean, honestly, looking back at my high school graduation class, a lot of people who didn't go to college, who ended up making their own businesses, or they just jumped straight into the trades. Obviously, I'm talking about guys here, but, anybody. They are somewhat doing better off now because they don't have these staggering payments, these crazy loans, and all this stuff hanging over their head. But what do you personally think? Have you experienced this? Do you have anybody in your life that you know is experiencing this? Or just feel free to let me know all your guys' thoughts and opinions down below in the comments.
Of course cars aren't a tax. Well, they are, but they're not, right? It depends on how much you make. So if we take a look at the income of Americans, right? If we look at the lowest 20% of Americans, that's called the first quintile of income. Second quintile is over here. So this is up to about $25,000. This goes up to about $50,000. And then the rich folks are over here. Average income for the lowest quintile in America is about $14,000, $15,000. Keep that number in mind. A used 10-year-old car costs about $6,000 a year to operate. That's gasoline, maintenance, insurance, depreciation of the car, all of that stuff added together. Now, if you're in the lowest quintile of income earners, earning $14,000, $25,000 a year, this is about a 20% tax or higher, or 30%. Now, the income tax that somebody's paying is about 10% in their tax bracket. So the car is far more expensive than any tax they'll ever pay. Problem is, the richest quintiles, the richest folks vote, and they make the decisions that impact lower
vehicles. Something that in the modern day is kind of it's like a custom in society. You kind of have to have a vehicle in most places where you live, especially in the U.S. Places are so big, areas are so big, things are so spread apart. You kind of need to have some sort of transportation if you want to successfully sustain yourself and get from point A to point B. But The way the money costs and the way that didn't make any sense. The way cars cost, the way the maintenance of cars cost, the way that just to keep up with having a car, as well as the insurance and then gas that's always changing, all this stuff. It's actually quite a liability. It's not. It's an asset. It's not necessarily, and it's an asset that almost always goes down, or if it does go up, it's the cars that do go up, you don't really drive them, so it's not really much use. It's just kind of something you have to haul around and hopefully have a place to store it, which most people don't even have a place to store their beds. So what are we doing here? I personally moved back into cities. When I grew up in the cities, I don't have a car right now, which dating as a 25-year-old without a vehicle is damn near impossible. But I know I'm not even really focused on that right now in the first place. That's a whole other video, a whole different discussion. But I think most people who live in the cities, they've chosen to do these those Lime scooters that are all around. They're choosing Ubers and Lyfts, or they're just choosing to do public transportation, because the whole stigma of having your own vehicle is kind of going away when everybody realizes hey, anything that costs $1, if you get rid of it, you're probably more smart than silly or dumb. Even though I do understand, and not everybody lives in the city, and in many states, many places, many parts of the world, having a car is a must. So what do you think? Where is your local type of ideal with this? Or do you think everything, including vehicles, is just an accustomed way to get people to pay, and never have enough money for themselves? So let me know down below in the comments.
In this economy, savings is out and self-indulgence is in. With traditional financial milestones out of reach, the dopamine rush from little luxuries have become a coping mechanism for young people who feel their futures are uncertain. According to Credit Karma, more than a quarter of Americans admitted to doom spending, or spending in spite of financial or economic concerns. And that rate was even higher among Millennials and Gen Z, who are arguably worse off than their parents. Growing student debt levels, a ballooning real estate market, stagnating wages, and a higher cost of living have all made it more difficult for people to achieve traditional milestones like living on one's own or buying a house. Just ask Nia Holland.
It's like a little treat, to reward myself for either some hard schoolwork, or just sometimes it just serves as a distraction from what's going on around me. If I felt like there was less going on, then I probably would be more inclined to prepare for the future.
And she's not alone. More than 2/3 of doom spenders admitted that they had given up on these financial goals entirely.
Now, people always like to talk shit about how the younger generation spend a lot of their money on accessories, or these kind of bullshit items like the Labubu dolls or Pokemon cards, or what else do people spend their money on? I don't know. Gambling? Anyway, this stuff. Because people don't really have a good sense of tomorrow. They don't really think that there's not much hope for the longevity of life. They're not looking forward to 10 years. Nobody's thinking about 10, 25, 50 years. No one's thinking about people aren't even really expecting tomorrow. And when we're all of us, no matter what generation you're from in the modern day, are constantly getting headlines that are just drastically hating on the world. We're just kind of anticipating World War III. We're anticipating another civil war. Everybody is just waiting for their bank account to just dry up, whether that's, the Fed coming and taking our money from us, even though there is nothing to take, or just money going bankrupt on its own. So even getting some will not even be worth it in the long run anyway, to begin with, whatever. Whichever saying you want to put there. But what do you guys personally think? Do you guys think the whole idea of money just has to be kind of readjusted in these younger generations? Do you think the whole idea of longevity has to be readjusted? Or do you think we just need leaders that can genuinely relate to the population, and not this completely vast difference from everybody being poor and everybody in charge being so rich they can't really even speak their message trying to relate? It's they can't even fake it. The masks aren't even right anymore. It's like a shitty Halloween party is what every election is. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know. Well, that's gonna wrap up another video discussing the bullshit that is our modern day society. And if you personally have any thoughts, opinions, just regarding anything discussed in today's video, I would love to read them, and I always like to respond to the ones I see fit. So feel free to leave those down below this down there in the comments. I definitely appreciate everybody who continues to show their daily support here in the videos, as well as a huge shout out to those people who check out those links down below in the description. Those always go such a long way. We are creeping up on the first, another month here. We got rent lingering over us. We have all these direct deposits hitting so suddenly out of nowhere. So everything helps. I much appreciate you guys, and I hope everybody's doing good out there as well, because God bless you. But hope you enjoy. That's kind of it for me for this one, so hope to see you next one.